Hello, everyone. I think we'll get ourselves started here and welcome to our Music Play Mentorship session number 2. I can't talk today. Session number 2. We're going to be going through planning tools and resources today and getting you all set for your long range planning. Before we begin, I just want to say a big thank you for being here today. I know that this is such a busy time of year and how precious your time is. So good on you taking some time to learn and hopefully make things easier for yourself this year. And I also just wanted to ask, when is or was your first day of school? If you want to type that into the chat for us, we can kind of get an idea of where everybody is at for the start of their school year. I know in Canada here, we aren't starting with kids till next week. And I also know some of our American teachers have already been in for close to a month already. So a bit of a variety. Yes, our Texas teachers, I know they start earlier. August 5th, wow. Yeah, lots of mid-August. Oh, to September 8th, wow. Awesome, well, thanks for sharing. And so, yes, you can kind of see we're all kind of in maybe different stages right now. And so some of the things today might be some back to school activities you can put in your pocket for next year because you've probably already started with your kids. But I think all of us are probably in the thick of getting our long range plans done. So today, this will be very helpful for your long range planning and using the tools on Musicplay. So we're just going to move along here today. So this is what we're going to work on today. We're going to learn about the planning documents, where to locate them, and what is available. We're going to take a closer look at the learning modules and explore the pre-made weekly lesson options. We're going to go into My List and how to use the My List, but also create a My List together so that we can get really good at using those My Lists. And then we're going to go more into the unit section and then end off with a few teaching tips. So I want to start off today with a whole class mixer activity. And I like this mixer activity because it's very low pressure for your students. This is a good one for your upper elementary students. And it's new in the back to school unit on Musicplay. So there's some slides there in the back to school unit. I'm just gonna go to my link here. See if it will let me. Oh, it's not letting me right now. Here. Okay, I'll go into that later and show you where it is on the unit. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm just having some issues with my links there. But what you do is you project one of these slides, and I have my students go to the side of the room with a picture that agrees with them. So we would put up a picture of the cat and the dog, and if they like cats better, they're going to go to this side of the room. If they like dogs better, they're going to go over to the other side of the room. And then to make it a little more musical and fun, we add in a fun drum beat. Now, Zoom does not like instruments. We have not found a workaround yet for Zoom, so I just want you to pretend that my drum is making a fun rhythm, a little and then I do some strong beats once they get settled into which side they're on. And then I'll ask a few students who are comfortable to share why did they pick cats or why did they pick dogs. And then as you go through the slides, they're going to change a little bit. One of the later ones is meet a dinosaur or meet an alien, but then they get more into school focus and into music class focus. So some of the later slides are singing or playing instruments, and recorder and ukulele. And that way you can see a little bit too of your students' musical preferences as well. So just a really fun, simple activity to try in those first couple of days. So we're going to continue on here. And okay, we're going to get into the planning side of things now. So backwards planning for me is really, really important. And these are some questions that I ask myself at the start of the school year and map out for myself on my calendar. And these are questions that Musicplay can't necessarily answer for you, but I want you to think about these. So how many minutes per week and how many class times per week do you have with each grade level? How many classes per month, quarter, year? For myself, I like to go from the beginning of the school year up to winter break, then winter break, spring break to the end of the year. And I kind of break it up that way to see how many classes we have. And then if I have a performance in one of those sections, I can map it out exactly how many classes I have. What themes and holidays do you want to cover at particular times? Do you have any concerts, presentations, musicals, field trips? Oh, and I see it. I have a little spelling error there. I'll fix that up. Field trips, musician visits, and then whole school events like concerts, assemblies, and special activities. And then always give yourself some extra time because there's so many unexpected things that happen throughout the school year. There could be a fire alarm one day, last minute assembly. Well, in Canada here, it has to get to -45 for your snow days. But I know for our Texas teachers, it might be a little bit warmer before you get a snow day there. So, but those weather days will come up as well. Now, these questions Musicplay can help you with. So, what concepts and skills should students know by the end of the year? And in what order will you introduce, revisit these concepts across grade levels? So I'm going to show you some great documents here in a moment that will go through that for you. And then when and how will you assess student progress, both formative and summative assessment? I like to actually go through my year and map that out right away. So I know this week I need to assess this in grade 2. And it keeps me on track, and I try to make it so I'm not assessing every grade level at the same time. And because that's just a lot of work in 1 week. And then what songs, games, and activities align with your goals and seasonal themes. So then connecting those songs to what you need for your school culture and your goals and what you need to cover in your curriculum. Okay, so we're gonna go into the lesson planning section now on Musicplay Online. And I'm gonna leave the slideshow at this point. I'm gonna go on to Musicplay Online because I wanna show you where everything is on there. These slides are gonna be like your notes. You can refer back to these if you have questions. And it will go in detail through everything that we're going to go through right now. Okay, so let me just escape out of here, and we're going to go on to Musicplay. So to find the lesson planning section, you're going to go on the left-hand menu here and select lesson planning. Okay, so left-hand menu will go into the lesson planning section. Now that's a good lesson for all of you actually that happened to me, because sometimes if you switch into the student mode, that will show up and you need to switch yourself back into the educator mode. So just be aware of that. If you ever get that pop-up message, it's probably because you were in student view instead of teacher view. So good little lesson I can teach you in there too today. Okay, so in our lesson planning section, there's access to various helpful documents to assist with your lesson planning. And so I wanted to start in the scope and sequence section here. There's some really great documents to help you out. So one of my favorites is the What We Will Learn posters for pre-K to grade 6. So if we click into here, you're going to see these really clear, easy to follow posters that go through all the elements of music and concepts for each grade level. These are so great because they're easy for me to read and follow, but they're also really great to share with students and parents. I also like to print these out and display them in my classroom right where my students are leaving and lining up at the door. And sometimes they will look at them and they'll be like, oh, I remember what that is from grade 1, or they'll tell me that they're looking at something and they're curious about it. So it really allows me to see that they are actually learning what concepts I want them to learn in each grade level. So those go all the way up into Musicplay for middle school, and just really clear and easy to read. These are also great to display on your Meet the Teacher nights. You can really clearly show parents what you're teaching in your classroom. And then if we go back here, this K to 6 scope and sequence is really great to show you the elements of music like rhythm, melody, timbre, expression, form, texture, and harmony, and it highlights which aspects are taught in each grade level. And it provides a general overview rather than specific details. So it shows how the musical skills are developed throughout elementary school. So you can see kind of what you should be introducing at each grade level. And then of course, reinforcing throughout all of the grade levels moving forward. So this is a short document, but it covers a lot, and it's just really clear and easy to see and check in with, oh, should I be teaching this, and when should I be teaching this? Then a very detailed document is the scope and sequence with songs. So here, if you're looking for a specific concept, you can find a whole bunch of songs that will fit with that concept. This is a very detailed document. There is a lot here. To kind of narrow it down, you can actually use the search filter tool, which I'll show you a little bit later, to kind of narrow down where to find certain songs for certain concepts. But this one is here for you if you want to do a little deep dive into the program. And then probably the document I refer to the most is the year plans. So for kindergarten all the way up to grade 5 and middle school. And these go through by month and by the elements of music of what you should be teaching for each month of the year. And I like to keep these to kind of keep myself on track throughout the year and make sure I am covering everything that I need to cover. And so I also print these out along with, I really like the What You Will Learn posters, and I keep those beside me throughout the year with my plans, and then kind of check things off as I go and make sure I'm covering everything there. So more in the lesson planning section. These music advocacy posters are really great to display in your classroom as well, because sometimes we have to explain to parents, oh, why are our students learning music in school? We know the benefits, but it's really good to have something to show them. And I really like this Music is Literacy poster. This is a great one to show to your administration and to other teachers in your building. And it has links here that talks about the benefits of literacy in music, but it also connects here on the QR code to a study to support that. So this is a great one to have on hand to advocate for your program. And then there are the curriculum correlations here too. We have the national standards correlations. If you click on the view all here, we also have some state correlations as well. So I think, yes, we have the Texas standards and Colorado and Arizona and a few others there as well. And then for our Canadian teachers, we have some correlations to the provinces as well. And then the substitute teacher plans here. If you click on the view all, that's a little reminder too, always click on the view all because there's always more there. So this is great for if you have sub plans and you have some last minute planning you need to do for a sub. These sub-tab activities, if you click on here, there's a PDF that opens up and it gives a variety of activities that you could just have a sub do a checklist with. So you could give them your student code and they would be able to get onto the website. And I think we're actually working on a sub code right now too that you can give to substitute teachers. And then they can just kind of check off what they worked on. And all of these activities are pretty general and you can do as review and reinforce activities for a sub. And then the I can statements here are going to correlate with the What We Will Learn posters. So if you want to display these as well, you can print them, cut them in half, and you could use Pocket Chart to display these really easily. And so you can go down here and there's lots there and you can pick which ones you really want to focus on at that time. And so I won't show you all of those because you can do that on your own time and take a look at what works best for you in your classroom. So just a lot there, just in the lesson planning section. If we want to go for more grade specific documents, you can click down here and it's going to take you to each of the grades. The other way that you can do this is if I start back on the Discover page, and if I click on grade 1, it's also going to give me the supporting resources that have those planning documents as well. So in this overview section, there's some of those things that we already talked about, the What We Will Learn poster, but just for the one for grade 1, the grade 1 scope and sequence, the grade 1 year plan. And then what's here that is not here in the lesson planning section is the grade 1 month outlines. So these will tell you what songs to teach each week. And then it will also show you what's in each of the learning modules. And then also some additional options to expand on your lessons. Okay, so that's very handy, especially if you're using the learning modules. And then also in here, we have classified indexes. So I like this song list one because it shows me, again, what concepts are being covered in different songs. These are actually from the old textbook version of Musicplay before it was a digital resource. So there's lots in there to help you get organized with your concepts. And then there's also the national standards again here. There's also an assessment section here as well that you can use to help track your assessments and different charts. And yeah, again, the substitute teacher activities, there's a lot here to explore. If you are looking for another way to see some weekly plans, a way to do that is to go into the song list. So here, right now I'm in grade 1. If I click into songs and then I go to say snail, snail, if I scroll down here and click on this week at a glance, it gives me another way to see those weekly plans. So we have our songs, we have the teaching tips and extras, what's in the learning module. It's also going to give you some other ideas for movement, listening, interactives, create and play, read and write, assess, and then also some teacher tips here as well. I really like this one. It just talks about how with the movement activities, it's really good for us as teachers to learn the movements from the video ourselves and share it with the students just using the audio. And then that way the students are making that connection with you at the start of the year. It's great to use the videos, especially when we're tired, but it's also great for us to learn and for us to be the leaders in the classroom and show the students the movements. So I love that teacher tip. Okay, and also just as on a side note there, I'm going to show you how you can just play the audio for a song. So up here is the audio tracks, and here it has vocal track or the accompaniment track. Now, vocal tracks, you cannot download those, but accompaniment tracks you can to use for performances. But if I want to just play the vocal track, I just go here and then I click play.
Sail, 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 go around and round and round.
Okay, so if I don't want to show the video, I can just show the audio here. Okay. And we're going to take another look at our learning modules today. So if I go back onto my Discover page and I go to learning modules along the side, again, these are organized by grade level and they provide you a full curriculum for weekly lessons of about 45 to 60 minutes. And it includes also teaching notes for all of those lessons. So if I filter this down today to let's filter it down to grade 2. And let's go into what most of us will be going into next week, September week 1. And I can scroll down here and it's going to give me also some extension activities here as well. And then some supporting resources here. There's a lesson guide, and then there's also an editable lesson guide. So if you want to maybe use some things from here, but not everything, you could write out your edits. But with MyList, you can also copy a module and then edit it to what you want it to be. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to customize your learning modules. So we'll kind of combine that with using the MyList feature here today. So if I go up to the top of the learning module and I click more actions and I click clone. It's going to think for a moment here, and then it will clone into your MyList. Okay, so now if I go back to the Discover page and I go to MyList, I can see Stacy Werner's copy of grade 2 lesson 1. So now I can make changes to this lesson. So if I scroll down and let's say I don't want this rhythm practice in my lesson, I can go like this. I can click delete and it will take it off of that lesson. Okay. Then let's say this solfa echo patterns, I want that more towards the beginning of my lesson. I can use the arrows tool to move that up higher. Okay, so maybe I want that second in my lesson. Now you can see here, as I scroll through, I can add procedures in between. So let's maybe say at the end of my class, I want to connect to some popular music and keeping a steady beat with some popular music. And what's more popular now than Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunters? My kids have been singing this like crazy this last week. So if I click add a procedure, I'm gonna try and bring in the Boomwhackers version that Tyler Swick put together, and I can put that right into my lesson. So I'm gonna do Golden Boomwhackers. And then if I go onto YouTube, I can copy the URL. So if I go share and copy, and then go back into the lesson here, I can paste that URL. And then for link text, I usually just copy and paste that back into here. Oh, you know what? I spelled Boomwhackers wrong, didn't I? There we go. And then for my teaching notes, I can say Golden Boomwhackers with Tyler Swick. And then I click add procedure. And then when I go into my lesson now, that shows up like this as a link, and it will link right to YouTube for me. So just a lot of ways that you can make those lists your own. And then also to remember that Musicplay is a menu. The teacher, you're not expected to teach everything within the lessons in the lesson modules. And it's really important for you as a teacher to judge what you think is going to work best for your students as well, and to leave what won't work and to use what will work well for your students. And then also not to feel that pressure that you have to do everything that's in the lesson modules, because we do set it up on purpose to be more than you can accomplish so that you have lots of extras and choices. Okay, and let's go into now making our own My List from scratch. So when I go into the main page here and I go to My List, all right, so you can see here, I got lots of lists going. So to make a new list, I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna click Add New. And I actually would really like today if you try to do this with me. So if you can, get onto Musicplay Online and go to your My List section, and we're gonna try making one together. We're gonna try focusing it on a certain concept today. Okay, so I'm gonna go onto Add New. And today I'm just going to be trying to sort and find songs that are going to teach a certain concept. And the concept I thought would be good for us to try today was doing ticka ticka. So, or 4-beam 16th notes. So let's just call this 4-beamed 16th notes. And then whatever syllables you use for that, you can write in here. I know some people use teary teary and other things. And then I want to make my list shareable so that I can share this with other teachers. So this visibility here will give you a couple of different options. So you can make it shareable with anyone with an active teaching license, or you can make it archived, only visible to you in a private list, or right now it's currently on private to me and my students. So I'm going to change it to this one so that I can make it shareable to a teacher with an active teaching license, and then we can kind of work together to create some lists. Now there's other places here you can put in objectives, supporting resources, and extra details, and then you can also write in some content here as well. So now I'm going to go add list. Okay, so now that list is in my list. So now I want to add some things to this list. So I'm going to use the search tool and filter out that concept that I want to find songs for, and then add some songs that I feel are going to be good, appropriate choices for this. So if I go back to the landing page, and I'm going to go add filter, and let's go into rhythm, and we're going to click on ticka ticka. And so then it's going to filter down all the songs and activities that are going to teach that concept. And it's a lot, so it's just going to take a moment to sort that out. There we go. Now I'm going to filter it down further to make it a little bit easier for me to see because I'm only going to want English for this. So that'll narrow it down. And then I want to start with songs. Okay, so here's some great songs for us to teach Ticka Ticka. So Old Brass Wagon is a great song. Tidy-O is a great song. Love Somebody. These are all great songs to teach Ticka Ticka. So I'm going to go into, let's go into Old Brass Wagon. And then if I just want to start with the notation or just with the lyrics, I can go into here and I can go add to my list. And I click on 4 beam 16th notes. And then I can go and make a title for it. So Old Brass Wagon. And then I can add some teaching notes. Teach the lyrics. And then I go add to my list and it will add to that list. Okay, and then let's say I want to add on the notation for this. Again, I click onto the yellow box up here and go 4 beam 16th notes. And I'll go Old Brass Wagon. And then I'm going to make that my notation. Okay, and so then I could continue going back to my filter and going through and adding more and more songs that are good options for teaching that concept. Now, if I want to maybe just add in some practice ideas for Ticka Ticka, I could go here to rhythm practice. I could scroll down to level 12. And here I could add in some other things. So I could do some echo rhythm patterns or some body percussion patterns. So we could do poison rhythm. I know we talked a little bit about last week. We could do a play along. So maybe I'll add in this rhythm play along here. And I go add to my list. And I can go rhythm, play along. And add to my list. Okay, so now if I close this up and I go back to my list over here, I can click in here and I see that I have all those procedures in there. And I can kind of narrow it down a little bit more. Now I might want to sort this down too, and I might want to have just a folder for grade 3. So here I do have a grade 3 folder. I'm just gonna delete this right now, and we're gonna add a new folder, and we're gonna sort this into that grade 3 folder. So if I go plus here, and my folder name, I'm gonna make grade 3 concepts, and I click add folder. And then I want to add this to the folder. I'm going to click here, and then under actions, I'm going to add it to the grade 3 folder. And then I click add to folders. And then if I just click on this folder then, now sometimes you might have to refresh this. And I'm just going to do that just to make sure it's there. Oh, and it didn't work for that time. Okay, let's try it one more time here. So and go into here, actions, grade 3 concepts, add to folder, and then we click in here. There it is. So that time it worked for me. So I must have made one misstep there, but yes, so then you can sort it into folders and keep things a little bit more organized for yourself and have those lessons ready to go for your classroom. Now, I also love the My List for substitute teachers because you can send them the link and then they can access it as a student. So if you look here at my substitute, or if I just go to my main list here, you can see I have a lot of subplans. So if we go back to here, I had grade 1, 2 subplans for this day. So I can click into here and then I can just go like this and I can just copy my link at the top here and then paste that into my subplans, and it will give the substitute teacher student access to your list. So that just makes it very, very easy. I can make subplans in 10 minutes with Musicplay. It's amazing. Okay. So next up, I wanted to just take a quick look at the unit section. And this is a great place to go to enhance your lesson plans and add to your lesson plans if you need a little bit more. So again, this is on the left-hand menu. And if we click here, you can filter it down further again, because there's a lot of units, lots and lots. If you keep scrolling down here, there's so many. So you are gonna wanna narrow this down. So some units I wanted to highlight today were the back to school unit. I'm gonna show you where to find the this or that I showed you earlier today. So what's great about this unit is we have a bunch of related songs. So name games, welcome songs. We have some mixers here. And then extra resources. There's a webinar here as well with Denise going through some of the activities and some printables that you can use. I really like this Music&Me booklet. So it's a foldable booklet and the students can fill in some of their musical preferences. And then if we keep going down, there's some procedures and lots of chants about expectations in the music room. And then there's 2 this or that activities, and this is the student mixer here that I showed you earlier. So you can click on this and it will show you the slides, and you can use that in your classroom right away. Another unit I wanted to highlight for you today is, we go into listening units, the genres of music unit. This is one that was requested for a long time on Musicplay, and Danae and I worked really hard to put this together. So it starts with an introduction to popular music genres. There's song analysis worksheets. There's an elements of music search that you have the students do so that they can connect the elements of music to the different styles of music. And then there's some introduction slides here that go through what is a musical genre. There's a guessing game in here, brainstorm, and then goes through the elements of music, and then that elements of music search, and then all the printables that you need for your students are also located here. And then there's just shorter slideshows of each of the genres we've gone through already. And then we put together a whole bunch of projects that you can do. So this is really great for your upper elementary students. I did this with grade 6s last year. And one of their favorite projects was this Unpack the Track, where they got to do a song analysis of a song of their choice. And so in here, if we go, there's a project checklist, which outlines what they need to have in their project. So if you're able to use technology for them to make things like a slideshow, podcast video, there's that option there. But if you don't have access to technology, there's also just a worksheet option that goes through some guided questions that they can do for their song analysis as well. And there's sample slideshows, teacher examples that you can share with your students. And there's also rubrics here too. So you have all your assessment here as well. So there's lots there within that unit and 3 different projects that you can use. So take a look through those. This Tracks of Me is a fun one to do towards the end of the year, where students reflect on like what music they would like to listen to in different situations. Like I just won the hockey game. What music do I want to listen to in that moment? So a really good reflection activity to connect as well with that social emotional learning. Okay. And then the last unit I wanted to highlight for you today is the Our Musical World unit. Most of this was created by John, and we've been continuing to add to it. And there's just a lot here, a lot of dances, a lot of songs from all over the world. He also includes travel logs and videos that go along with this too. And there's a passport as well, a mini book, so that students can stamp their passport as they go around the world to learn about different music. So there's a lot there as well. And we're really excited we're hoping to add soon to our India and Philippines unit as well. Working on a few things that I'm really excited about. And really what's great about this units as well is you can really respond to what your students want and just be culturally responsive to them as well, and make sure that they're being seen and that you're able to offer a wide variety of resources so they can see themselves reflected in music class, So whether that be, again, the pop music, like what are they listening to at home and bringing that into the classroom, that's going to increase the engagement in your classroom. In my school, we have a lot of Punjabi speakers in my school. And so I like to bring in as much of that as I can into the classroom as well, and learning some of their culture and bringing that in for my students. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the slideshow, and I just have a few teaching tips before we'll get into questions today. Okay, so you can see here, we kind of went through all of this with the planning documents, learning modules, customizing them, my lists, the unit section, and we'll go into some teaching tips today. So one thing that I learned in my undergrad when I was doing my student teaching is my mentor teacher said, you need to plan out every minute of your lessons in terms of like, what are you going to do when students are first coming in? What are you going to do in between all of those activities as well? Because for me, that's when majority of the behavior issues in my class are going to happen. So I like to make things very, very clear for my students at the start of the year. So I like to teach the pathways the first day of how to come into the classroom and how to sit down at their sit spots. And I like to make it really silly and fun. So I'll show them all the wrong ways to do it. Like I'll run into the classroom as fast as I can, and I'll come in the next time and I'll hop over instruments, I'll play on the drum, and then I'll go sit at my spot. And then the third time I'll do it the right way. And I'll show them how I come in calmly, I sit down on my circle spot, and we're ready to begin. For them, it gives them a few laughs to see it the wrong way, and then they remember it a little bit better. Great tip I've got from some of my classroom teachers is marking where they line up at the door, because otherwise they tend to crowd right around the door and you can't open the door. So if you can mark your doors, where your door is going to open and have that space, it's very helpful. And then also try dismissing students in small groups. I have the circle dots again in different colors, so I like to do by different color or by row. And then for some groups, I do have to go one by one, because I had a grade 1 group last year that just struggled with lineups. So I did it one by one, but then I try to add a little variety and movement and themes along with it. So can we do a space walk today to line up at the door? Can we do a robot walk? If we're learning about dynamics that day, can we tiptoe quietly to the door? And then again, add an instrument in that they match maybe while they're moving, so that they have that engagement as they're lining up at the door. Make me a circle. Make me a circle. And that's a great little chant that I'll talk about here in a moment, but also the transitions between activities, we need to think about that. So giving directions musically, if you can. So keeping that engagement as we go through our lesson. So one of Denise's rules was, if you play before I say, I'll take your instrument away. So I would have the students echo back in a variety of ways. Maybe I ask them to do it quietly. If you play before I say, I'll take your instrument away. Maybe I'll do it extra slow. If you play before I say, I'll take your instrument away. Okay, so just doing those rules in musical ways. Use clapping, stepping, or body percussion to show rhythm to a song while changing activities. So let's say we were just doing the apple tree song. Can you clap the rhythm after we're done playing the game? Can you clap the rhythm the way the words go for apple tree as you make your way back to your song? And we'll sing it one more time as they move. Apple tree, will your apple fall on me? Okay, or maybe you can sing the next song that you're planning on doing while the students are moving, and maybe ask for a specific detail about the song. So let's say you're doing bee, bee, bumblebee. Maybe you ask the students, okay, listen to my next song. It's about a bee, and I want you to listen for, what does the bee sting? Bee, bee, bumblebee, stung a man upon his knee, stung a pig upon his snout. I declare that you are out. Oh, there was 2 things that the bee stung. So we talk about that, and then move to the melodic contour of a song and returning to your spot by the end. So again, bee, bee, bumblebee, maybe we've played the game. Now it's time to come back to our sit spots. We can show our highs and lows as we move, and we want to finish right when we get to our dot. Bee, bee, bumblebee, stung a man. Okay, so just some fun ideas to think about as you transition between those activities. Now this make me a circle chant, My mom and I put this together. And what I do is the first couple of weeks of school, we really practice hard making that circle. And so I have the grid of the dots, and I kind of teach the students at the back to stand up, the students at the front to stand up and turn around, and then the students on the side to stand up. And then everybody in the middle, you're supposed to fill in the spaces to make our circle. And then I challenge them with this chant to see if they can do it faster each time and take up less beats as they go. So it goes, make me a circle, make me a circle, make me a circle while I keep the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we keep going until they make the circle. So I can show you just a video here of how quick. Make me a circle. Grade 1 through 2 did it last year.
A circle.
1 through 6.
A circle while I keep the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, and they did it in about 4 beats. And they enjoy that challenge. Okay. And then pacing. Denise was really, really good at pacing her lessons. And if you ever went to a session with my mom, she would teach like 10 things in an hour. She was so fast with her pacing, but she knew that she was keeping the engagement up, and it was better to keep the activities short. So consider your students' attention span. My mom always told me that for your younger students who are 5 years old, keep the activities to 5 minutes each and switching every 5 minutes. So if you look at my lesson plans for kindergarten, there's going to be 10 things on a lesson plan. If you're going to look at my lesson plan for grade 5, there's going to be 3 or 4 things. So it's just, well, maybe not every grade 5 class, but you know, we all struggle with that age group, but so it depends on the group. But with my older kids, even like my grade 6s, some days I was like, there's one thing on my lesson plan, and I knew that they'd be able to focus through that whole activity for the full 35 minutes. Always have movement activities ready to go, because those breaks are going to be needed. I included the movement fun favorites. This is a module in the learning modules that you can go to that have lots of really just great movement activities to have in your back pocket. And then always alternate between movement activities and seated activities. It's important to talk less and do more. And then I just put in a few fun attention grabbers for you. So body percussion echoes, we could start with, and the students echo it back. And then I just keep switching it up until I get everybody's attention. Sometimes you might have to do that 2 or 3 times before everybody's eyes are on you. And a lot of teachers, they do this one anyway. I know we're tired of that one, but the kids know what that means, and you often don't even have to explain anything with that one. My mom would also do this one, shh, 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 and do it that way instead to kind of bring more of a calm feel to it. And then I like this one. If you can hear me, touch your nose. If you can hear me, touch your head. And then they just kind of gradually join in again. If we're doing group work, I like to turn off the lights, and then they all kind of look up at me and they're like, oh, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, now I'm going to start and give our final instructions for the day. And then this one's a fun one. It goes boom, snap, clap, ba-boom, snap, clap, snap. And then the students echo back, boom, snap, clap, ba-boom, snap, shh. Okay, so teacher, give that one a try. It's a little tricky. Boom, snap, clap, ba-boom, snap, clap, snap. Then the class echoes, boom, snap, clap, ba-boom, snap, shh. And there's a really fun activity. If you search that one on YouTube, there's a whole process to this and a whole really fun partner game that you can do with that as well. And then just next week, we're going to dive a little bit more into how to bring that music literacy in and the skill development and getting more into our daily plans. So what I like to make sure I'm including within my daily plans, and it's not perfect every lesson plan, but I try to include singing, music listening, movement, some form of music literacy, so reading and writing, playing instruments, creating and or playing, doing centers, and then assess and reflect. And you can combine those two, right? We can be doing singing while we're playing instruments and movement, but just thinking about that you're doing that variety of ways to bring the instruction to your students so that we're not always doing things the same way. Okay, so just like, oh, I ended up perfect timing, good. So Just to end off today, if you're looking for website support, I know I talked about this last week, but contact support@musicplay.ca. If you're looking at needing help with pedagogy support or curriculum support, you can contact me at stacy@musicplay.ca. And then if you're looking for more, we have our Wednesday webinars. I believe next week it's Beth Duhon. She's doing a session on using Musicplay with upper elementary. And you can also check out, we've got the Musicplay blog going now, and the weekly newsletters. Our Facebook group is great. Musicplay YouTube, or there's our Instagram page. I also have my own Instagram page that I try to post a couple teaching tips every week, and stay active with what's going on Musicplay on there as well. So I will give us a little bit of time for questions if Lisa has questions for me today.
Yay, thank you, Stacy. Yeah, just a quick, I think that webinar is September 10th.
Oh, did I say the wrong date? Okay.
I just double checking, but yeah, it's the 10th.
Okay.
And so just a FYI. And Stacy, there is a question here. It says, there's lots of resources, or there are lots of resources. And this viewer is wondering, are there any songs or lessons that you or your students really enjoy from Musicplay?
Yes. At the start of the year, I absolutely love a lot of the things. Well, there's so much. It's really hard to narrow it down to one. So let's go on to Musicplay here. And is my screen still sharing?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So let's say we go into grade 1 today and we go into the songs. And my students love the lesson for Choo Choo Train. This is a great one. And then there's so much you can build on from this too. And we're going to get into this with the music literacy and skill development next week too. But my students love the game for this one. And all the visuals that go along with this in the beat and rhythm section here. It's just so great to really get the students understanding the idea of 2 sounds on a beat makes a TT, 1 sound on a beat makes a ta. So there's just all these great interactives that they can go through. And then there's more like with the printables here that they can create and make their own train note patterns. So that's a really, really great lesson. Another great one that is in the instrument section, and this is one that I put together. If we go into bucket drumming basics here is this pepperoni pizza lesson. So this one here, we use body percussion first to teach the poem, and then the students transfer this onto their buckets. And then we create a bucket drumming song that doesn't use a backing track. So the students use the poem to learn how to play the piece. And there's a kids demo here for you. There's teaching notes as well. And there's a create a pizza pattern worksheet here too. So then at the end, the students can create their own patterns, either using body percussion or bucket drumming.
Wow.
So there's a lot here.
Yeah, to choose just a couple is tough.
It is. We could probably like do a whole webinar just on like our favorite from each grade. Grade 4, I also love this lesson too at the start of the year with Frere Jacques as well. This is a great one and a great way to introduce canons and rounds with the students, but then also review the concepts from grade 3. So those are some of my must-dos that I do at the start of the school year.
Well, thank you, Stacy. Just before we wrap up, one of the questions is if I'm unable to sing as high as the songs being sang in the video, is it okay to sing it in a lower pitch along with it?
Absolutely. Yes. There was one song, I think Danae and I were talking about, Apple Tree. It's so high and it's recorded so high. I can't sing that high. So yes, I lower it for myself. And then even if the keys aren't maybe working for you on Orff instruments, go ahead and change it. If it's not working for you on ukulele, change it. So it's really important to, you're always welcome to adapt to what works for you. And then of course, if we do want to model that lighter tone singing and getting that more choral sound that Lisa is so great at, we can use the recordings to help you out with that as well.
Well, thank you, Stacy. That's one of the things that's so nice with these videos is sometimes if range is out, we have these models that we can use that are really supportive for the students to see. And I mean, I've been here 5 years and I have to tell you, there's things I learned today about creating these lessons that I didn't know. So, wow, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, feel free to email me any questions. And next week, I'm really excited about next week because that's kind of my area that I love is the literacy and the skill development. So please come and join us and we'll have some really great things to show you next week.
Well, thank you, everybody. And yeah, make sure you come back next week. Thank you so much, Stacy.
Yes, thank you.